Okay, so this video is going to be a short tutorial on how to use Audacity for your podcast project. As I've stated in class, you do not need to use Audacity if you have um, a platform that you'd rather use. This is just simply the one I suggest. It's a free open source app that you can use, and I also may be able to help troubleshoot it if there's any issues along the way. So first I'll show you where to get it. If you simply go to audacityteam.org, you can get a free copy of Audacity that you can download to your computer. Okay, so I'll skip ahead, assuming that you have no issues in getting your Audacity downloaded to your computer. Here's the Audacity program. You can open it. I'm going to start from a new one, so I'll just say File New. Okay, so this is what your blank template will look like when you open Audacity. The first thing that you're going to want to make sure you do is make sure that your sound is working. There's nothing worse than spending a long time thinking that you're recording a video and then realize that you have actually been recording nothing. So you're going to want to hit your record button, which is the red circle, and you can begin recording just to test to make sure that your voice is actually being picked up. Okay, I'll hit the stop button. Now you can see it's really easy. You have a little cursor tool. If you move your cursor tool and click at the beginning of the clip, you can play and to see what's been recorded so far. So I'm going to hit play, and you can begin recording just to test to make sure that your voice is actually being picked up. Okay, so it sounds like the recording worked perfectly. If for some reason your voice did not get picked up perfectly, if it's really, really loud, or if you really can't hear yourself, and it has nothing to do with the volume on your computer, if your volume's up all the way, at least on a Mac, if you go to your preferences and then you go into sound, you can see whether or not your internal mic is set up to really pick up what you're trying to record. So if this is down here, you may have a hard time hearing what you're trying to record, and if it's all the way up, it may be too loud and it almost sounds like you're screaming. But so once you have this at a good level, you should be able to hear yourself being recorded. Okay, so back to our project. One of the other things that you definitely want to make sure that you're doing is if you're not recording in one fell swoop, as in if you're not recording your entire project in one sitting, you want to make sure that you know where your cursor tool is when you hit record. Right now, as you can see, there's a little line right here and an arrow. That's where my cursor is sitting. If I hit record right now, I'm going to record over everything I've already recorded, and I'm not going to have one recording anymore. I'm going to have a mumble and jumbled mess where you can't hear anything. So if you want to pick up and say, okay, so I just recorded my intro of me introducing myself and how, I recognize my privilege, and now I'm going to move on, you need to make sure that you click after your original recording so that you do not record over this. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to line up perfectly. Just click anywhere after the original recording. You can hit record again, and okay, now I'm recording my second part or whatever part that you're trying to record. Hit stop, and now you have two separate recordings. Now, you do not have to sit together and do your podcast. It may be easiest to do it that way if you're all together, at the library, and you want to make sure that you get it all done and you're ready to go. If that doesn't work out and you want to each record your own sections and then compile them later, you can do so. You want to make sure that you save it, obviously. So you're going to save your project. And I don't know what you want to save it as whatever example, I don't know. And you'll see that it will save as an Audacity project. That means you cannot open it in any other system except for Audacity. If you just try to play the recording, if they sent it to you via email or something, it's not going to work. You have to open it via the Audacity program. But so once you have your recordings and you're trying to say, okay, now let me make one recording so that I can upload it as my project, you can move these things around, which is really neat. So if you go up here, you can click this tool, which lets you move your tracks. So you have track 1 that you've recorded at one time, and now you have track 2. You can take this, bump it right up, and so you can see it easily matches up. The line turns yellow, and now you have one recording. So you can see, I'll change my cursor back here. And I'm just going to play it from here so that you can see it sort of seamlessly puts these two tracks together. Okay. Record again, and okay, now I'm recording my second part. Right, so there's nothing that you have to do. You just bump that up with that tool and it does it for you. It's really neat. As you can see here, there's a lot of blank space. So another neat thing about Audacity is if I have my cursor tool on, I can just simply click and drag. And if I wanted to, I feel like I don't need that space, I can delete it. This is good, if you tend to start rambling or if you go off track or you just really don't like what you're saying there, but the rest of the recording is really good, you can just go in and delete that little section. And so now if I move my cursor here, you'll see that that blank section is gone. Okay, record again, and okay, now it sounds ridiculous because of what we're recording, but it won't sound so ridiculous when it's your actual podcast. So now you don't even need this track anymore because you can see there's nothing on there. You can exit out of it. All right, so now let's pretend this is your final project, right? You have everybody's introductory piece in this one track. You've got your exploration, everything else. This is your entire project. Instead of saving it, do not save this as an Audacity project. What you're going to want to do is export it, and you're going to export it as a WAV file. Export audio. Save it as whatever podcast project. You may want to do it as a 32 just so that depending how long it is. So you're going to save it as a WAV file, right? And then you don't have to include this unless you want to. And that's what you're going to upload into Canvas. Do not upload your Audacity project because nobody will be able to listen to it because Canvas is not Audacity, so that won't work. Okay, so hopefully this is a pretty clear recording and understanding of how to use Audacity simply. As you can see, there's a lot of other tools that you can use in here. You can fade in and fade out and put in music if you'd like to, but none of that is required in this project. It's pretty simple understanding of how to use the system. It does not have to be a fancy, formal podcast. So this is the recording. I'm going to stop it now. Obviously, let me know in class if you have any questions.